Hi everyone. I'm just gonna steal a few minutes first before Klaus and Volker talk more about Excel, just to introduce the community to the attendees that are not familiar with it. If you can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Then I will also introduce the activity in the community and the upcoming events. Then we will have obviously leave the floor to Klaus and Volker to talk more about Excel. And you will have time to give your question and they will help answering the best. And we'll be closing after that, a very exciting time. So what is the CCS community? It is the technical community of EAG on carbon capture and storage. We're a network of members interested in everything around CO2 geological storage. And so we look at topics such as CO2 storage site selection, development and optimization, subsurface monitoring, drilling, de-risking, transparency, and all of that goes into the whole chain. So we were established about a year ago, and we currently have nearly 1,500 members. So and we're going up. So this is really good. It's a really dynamic, growing community. And we have core members, which are presented in the next slide, which are actively participating in shaping what the community is engaging with. And a different type of events that we are able to help organizing. So it is really community driven, and we as chair, Matthias and myself, are so grateful to have such a support, such a group of people with us. And so amongst the different activities, so we obviously have dedicated session and workshop at the EAG annual, but also at the GET conference. We try to help as much possible developing educational and networking events and collaboration. So this webinar series is one of them, a new one. And we also try to provide news, career advice, and vacancy information that we share amongst community. If you are interested in joining our community, just simply take a screenshot or follow the QR code here to join us on LinkedIn, where you will get all the most up-to-date information. And obviously get informed us everything that we are engaging with. And so if I can give you a few examples of the coming event that we're engaged in. So we will be obviously participating to the next GET at Rotterdam with dedicated station. And so we're looking forward to see more of you perhaps. And then also we have another activity coming with a class, extensive online course where we have 5 experts that are going to talk more about geological CO2 storage. And so this is open to everyone interested with or without background material. And so it also counting towards training points, as you can see. So that's part of our learning activities. We have other activity coming, which are the first EAGE workshop on geophysical technique for monitoring CO2. So it's very specific and first of its kind. It will be between the 21st and 22nd October in Toronto, in Canada. And so we'll be go through everything that is related to the geophysics methodology for monitoring offshore, onshore, site characterization, surveillance, and risk management as well. And if you're interested, please note that the registration deadline is coming soon on the 19th of September. And yes, another event that I want to talk about today is the first EAG, APG, and SEG. So basically, we cross our interests with our American partners around carbon capture, utilization, and storage with a workshop, a joint workshop. and this will promote a knowledge exchange between the two different associations, and to try to further embody the fact that CCS is definitely international and it has to be a work of all communities together. So that is also held in October, and that will be in Saudi Arabia on between the 21st and 23rd of October. And that's it for the coming closest events that we are organizing. I thank you again for joining today, and I shall leave the floor now to Klaus, who will start with the first part, introducing the Excel. Before I might perhaps further introduce Klaus and Volker. Sorry. So Klaus Tobias Mosbacher is the current executive director of Excel. He started his career as an engineer in mechanical and production, and he has senior management position for more than 25 years at different global enterprises across the oil and gas industry. And he has served as CEO of current technology startup. And as I said, he is currently the executive director of Excel, and it is in this quality that he's today with us to present Excel. And he's also a member of the German-Norwegian Chamber of Commerce, and he's part of the working group for industrial carbon management. Volker Rohling, who is also co-presenting Excel today, is the director of operation and project at Excel. And he's been working at Excel for the past 12 years, whilst also being employed as a project leader at NTNU, which is the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. And he's been actively contributing to Excel for many years, including through the EFSPRI roadmap for the European research infrastructure, and to get Excel moved from a European project to a European research infrastructure consortium, which is what ERIC means, and that makes it a permanent legal entity. And so, yes, it is my pleasure to leave the floor for you to get to know better Excel if you've never heard about it before. Klaus, I shall leave you the floor now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Audrey, especially for the nice and warm welcome and introduction. Thank you very much. So I'm very happy to be here and have the possibility to present Excel ERIC. Maybe some of you know Excel ERIC already, but together with my colleague Volker, we would like to share actually Excel ERIC in two parts. The first part I will take over and present what is the status with Excel ERIC, especially in regards of the regional and scope extension, and which role the industrial carbon management strategy of the EU, which has been launched last year, plays a role in Excel ERIC. And Volker will give you a little bit more insight on the operation and especially on the EU and national funding possibilities facilitated by Excel ERIC, and also to give you a little bit of insight on transnational access and open access of Excel. Having said that, I will jump immediately in. So I will share the screen. So everybody hear me and everything is okay? Yeah, okay, yeah. Good. Then I will share the screen and then we will start with the first part. I have to find this button here. Yeah, okay. Here we go. So I hope it works. Okay. You see the screen? No, maybe not. You see the shared screen, right? Just not a second. Yet. Yeah, not yet. Okay, just a second. Where is it now? You see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
And you see the full screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then let's start. Also, first of all, thank you very much. So I would like to start with the Excel ERIC scope and regional extension. So first of all, what is EXL-ERIC. So ERIC stands for European Research Infrastructure Consortium, an initiative from 2009 from the EU to actually bring research facilities together. There are more than 30 ERICs in Europe in different areas, in different technology areas and scientific areas. And we at EXL-ERIC, we take care for the part of CCUS and CDR. So the idea behind EXL-ERIC is to provide open access, to provide transnational access, to enhance open access, to accelerate research and development, innovation, to achieve the net zero CO2 goals in the different areas. So here you see the map, and what you see here is a lot of black dots. That means with one research infrastructure and with 7 member countries, means Norway, UK, France, Italy, and the Netherlands as founder members. We have now also since 2025 new members. It's Germany and Denmark, which is strengthening our research infrastructure pretty well. So that means it's black and yellow dots that are the so-called research facility owners, which we have now more than 46. And with this 46 research facility owners, we have more than 130 research facilities. Research facilities means laboratory, like the picture you see here on the lower end here, which is SINTEF, for example, in Oslo. And on the right-hand side gives you a little bit of taste of what kind of facilities we have. We have big facilities, flow loops, laboratories, so all what you can imagine. And that is more than 130 of those research facilities. The yellow dots you see on the map, that are the so-called node leads. So you see also BGS, yeah, Audrey. She's also takes part of our operations center. And so we have also guidance national-wise, which helps to coordinate the national facilities for us. So the headquarters is in Norway, in Trondheim. I think we are the northernmost ERIC in Europe. So, and you see here also NTNU University next to it, SINTEF Energy. So that was in 2017 when EXL-ERIC has been founded. Before, EXL was already on the roadmap and is a landmark at the ACE3 research infrastructure. So what is our mission? So it's actually to facilitate and coordinate the open access for over 130 plus world-class CCUS and CDR research facilities across Europe, and especially to support the EU industrial carbon management strategies, the EU agendas for net zero, and also the national agendas. We are not covering, or we are not only focusing on research and development, we are also focusing with our facilities on qualification, validation, and verification of products or services. Therefore, the TRL level spans from TL1 to up to TL7. TL7, which means in the prototype stage. And at the end of the day, with our research infrastructure, and I like to call it also the machine room for the researchers and innovators, is to provide the right facility to do the research work, to accelerate research and innovation, and in principle and in a nutshell, to reduce costs, yeah, make CCUS and CDR commercially feasible, de-risking investment to ensure asset integrity. We know CO2 is not a simple gas, and support safe operation to achieve social acceptance. And these are actually our focus, to provide the right facilities that the researchers and the developers can actually accelerate their work. And we are not only looking on academia and research, also on the industry. So we are covering the whole bandwidth. What we have done is we have expanded our scope. So we are principle, when we started in 2017, we have focused mainly on CCS, then also on utilization. And now we are covering also BECCS, DACCS, subsurface feedstock, and geothermal. And with these 8 areas, including the CO2 transport and storage, which is a very important subject and area to, let me say, scale up CCUS and CDR, we are covering the whole CO2 value chain. What I would like to do is now tell you a little bit the storyline, how we defined this scope extension, and especially in regards of the role of the industrial carbon management strategy. So that means this is from the EU on last year on February 6th. They have launched the industrial carbon management strategy, a very important document, a very important communication from the Commission, which gives the first pan-Europe industrial carbon management strategy, and most of the national agendas are now also guided by this European-wide carbon management strategy. Maybe most of you know it already, so I will just go quickly through it. Here on the right-hand side, you see the actual CO2 emissions from 65 to 2050, give you a little bit of taste on Fit for 55 and the Paris Agreement, what has to be achieved. And you see here in 90, there was a 3.7 gigaton in Europe. In 23, we are reduced by 1 gigaton already. However, in 2030, there is an objective to reduce another 1 gigaton. Means more or less in 5 years, we have to come up to 1.7 gigaton. And at the end of the day, or better say on 2050, it's net zero. And this is gives you a little bit the numbers. This is all original text from the industrial carbon management strategy. You see in 2030, 50 million tons, up to 450 million tons in 2050. And the capacity, and now we are with EAGA, we are looking also on storage, of course, mainly the geological part, 250 million tons to store. What I want to say is the industrial carbon management strategy said it's not good enough to reduce CO2 emissions. You have also to remove it. Means you have to look on CDR. And that means it has to be removed more than 400 million tons and 200 million tons by industrial removal. And here the industrial carbon management strategy is looking on BECCS and DACCS. So that means the scope in the carbon management strategy, which is also important for us at Accel, is to say, okay, we have the technological pathway CCS, CCU, CDR. It's also foreseen on the research and innovation, which is good news for the research community, to support a new collaboration and knowledge sharing platform for industrial CCUS project, which Accel contribute pretty much already and will even more in the future. And then we see also more investment in R&I, especially on the removal side, and also on the reduction side. There has to be done still a lot in the research and in the innovation arena, and then contribute to standardization. So that means all this is original text from the industrial carbon management strategy, where we have looked at it and see what impact has that on Accel ERIC. Here are some numbers also from the strategy from the EU, and you see here, especially if you look on 2050, there is a movement on utilization. Almost 50% of the captured CO2 should be utilized. And here on the share of CO2 captured by origin, so you see CDR, carbon dioxide removal, takes an important part. More than 50% should be covered by direct air capture and biogenic emissions, that they come up to this 200 million tons in removal, and then process and fossil fuel emissions should be reduced, and that will be the other 200 million. So that we end up by this 450 million tons. So, and this is CO2 value chain also from the industrial carbon management strategy. We did the mapping on Accel ERIC, looked at it and said, look, here, these areas we have to focus more. In the other areas, we are good already, but we are still working on original and scope extension to bring more research facilities in. But anyway, on the biogenic air, direct air capture, and on the utilization, we look that we improve our infrastructure. That means with this, let me say, strategic research and technology business field for Exel, we are mainly covering reduction, removal, utilization. We went a step further beyond the industrial carbon management strategy and looked also on avoidance, what kind of areas we can cover on avoidance. And we have seen with our existing research facilities and infrastructure, we can already cover not only CO2 permanent storage, we can also look at geothermal subsurface feedstock for hydrogen, for example, for any other energy carrier like compressed air, heat, and so on, and even CO2 as a feedstock. So based on this, what you see here, we have actually formulated our goal, net zero, not only by reduction, removal, and utilization, also by avoidance, especially on the subsurface part. And this is here also EAGE. You are working on this pretty much. And back to this, what I have shown already. This is now our new research portfolio, research facility portfolio, the infrastructure, a closed loop, which includes the typical carbon capture for fossil and process, like we did since 2017, the permanent storage onshore, offshore. We have the utilization, we have CO2 transport and storage, and new is now that we look on CDR, especially on BECCS and DACCS, driven by the industrial carbon management strategy of the EU. And subsurface feedstock, more a bottom-up approach, because we have the competences and the facilities available already. And geothermal, which is also in certain regions, for example, in Germany, they have a geothermal strategy, which is an important part. That helps us actually to do a proper mapping already. You see Germany as a pretty much new member since July. We are in process to map their facilities. There will be much more. This is just a starting point. We expect more than 20 facilities in Germany, which is in process to get provision to the Exel ERIC. But this gives you a little bit idea. Here the different nodes, or the areas, the facility owners, the 46, maybe you remember what I mentioned in the beginning. Then the total facilities up to 130 or 130 plus. And then when we map these facilities, we see already in the new areas like geothermal, maybe you see my cursor, geothermal, feedstock energy, we have already facilities available from day one. And that is actually pretty good. In 2025, we have this new scope, and we now promote this new scope within Europe. How to access, and this will Volker explain a little bit more detail in his part. But in principle, for all the stakeholders in academia, research, industry as potential users, we give access mainly through two doors, let me say. One is a free access after selection process. This is a transnational access where maybe funding is available, which we facilitate, or other funding is available, and by certain projects, mainly EU projects or national projects. Then we support also the selection process to select the right users for this approach, or direct access instantly. If you have own funding or EU funding available, please go through our Exel website. It's more than a website, it's actually a database. All the different facilities are in detail described, who is a contact person, what you can expect. And we have a new website since beginning of this year, and just have a look at it. And here you can find the right facilities for your research work. So this is let me say, in principle, the access to our facilities. this gives you this busy slide gives you a little bit the idea. We are under EU law. We have EU statutes, and here's really in detail described how we have to run our operation, how we should governance our organization. And typically there is a general assembly, which are mainly the national owner delegates are involved, the ministries, the national ministries which are financing us. We have the operational center where Volker and myself is working in. And then we have here the different national nodes. For example, Audrey is part of the UK node together with Helen. And so we have directly support from the national level, and which is pretty good. And we meet every week once to discuss how we promote Axel Eric, how we bring things forward, how we get EU funding, and so on. And then we have the facility coordination group. There's a research infrastructure coordination committee, which is actually handling the so-called machine room. Yeah, which facilities we would like to involve, which facility is missing. And so therefore we are up to this 46 to more than 130 facilities which we are coordinating. Besides that, we have also a scientific advisory board and industrial advisory board to ensure that we have the right support and input from the industry and from the scientific community to ensure that we are on the right track with our facility and with our infrastructure. So, and then regional expansion, very important. We have initiated a lot of activities since last year, and we are very happy to welcome Denmark and Germany since in 2025. Gives us a pretty much booth in Central Europe. We are working also now on Poland and Belgium to welcome them soon, hopefully, and also Switzerland, Portugal, Greece, and Czechia, Spain, Austria. And all the areas you see here, this is more or less the most relevant regions we would like to include, because then I think we have covered actually Europe pretty well. But however, we look also outside of Europe. We are started also to connect to different areas outside of Europe, because we want to provide also the support and the competences outside of Europe. And here, just to give you an appetizer, there are already 5 interesting research institutes in Poland. We are in a dialogue. A letter is prepared already. When that is signed, and hopefully end of this year it's signed, then Poland will be hopefully also part of Axel Eric beginning next year. Having said that, so you see Axel Eric in the last 1.5 years, we looked on the regional expansion and also on the scope extension, which gives us the opportunity to strengthen the research infrastructure network. Good, that's all from my side so far. And I think questions will be answered afterwards, right? So I would say, Volker, please take over and give your insight of Axel Eric.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to share my own screen and then run the slides from there. So we just put it on full screen. So as Klaus said, I'm going to talk a little bit about access and then a little bit about projects. We've got open access policy to our facilities. That means anybody from anywhere in the world could apply for access. We've got single point access through our website, where we have got all the facilities listed with quite a lot of details on each of the facilities, and then you can select the facility you want to apply to. Put in some project information, and then we will handle the process to get the access. So anybody can apply anytime if you have got own funding, and if you have got own funding, then obviously ownership of the results, IPR, patents, all those things on your side to keep or to register. So own funding means there's no problem for industry to apply for access and use the facilities, do the research they need, and then take the results with them and use them internally. But then obviously academia, research institutes, and others as well. And then, as Klaus said, the other possibility is calls for access, where Excel has got EU project funding or other type of funding, where we are the entity who's providing the access and the funding. So typically, such an access is then free for the applicant, free of charge, and the project will pay for the facility costs, which is being accessed, as well as typically for travel costs as well, and subsidies. Together with the access to Excel facilities, you get the normally required technical and scientific support to use the facilities and to conduct your research project. So what kind of access types we have? So it's quite a range. So we've got in-person research where a researcher visits the facility. We also do contract research, cooperative research. We have got some limited data access already available, and this is now being extended. We have got access to simulations. And then we have got also an extensive range of instruments available at the various facilities. So this national or transnational access to our facilities, obviously, what we offer is we're opening up a large range of state-of-the-art facilities across Europe to researchers from Europe and beyond. Our website makes it very easy to find a facility suitable for your research project. We have got a standardized application procedure for access. As I said, we have got a calls for application for EU-funded projects. Can apply anytime, with own funds, technical and scientific support provided. We have got an access policy, which is for all our access to all facilities. You can do upscaling of research by using different facilities in Excel. And as Klaus said, covering TRL 1 to 7 roughly. So I'm not going to say much more about this. I'm going to show you in a little while the website where you can see how it works. But for this EU-funded access, where Excel or where a project holds the funding for the access, there's currently 2 projects which we are involved in. One is called GeoInquire, and there's 2 Excel facilities, or theoretically there's 5 Excel facilities included, but we have only funding for now for the last 2 years. So it's 2 storage facilities, one in Norway and one in Italy. And there the call for transnational access applications is still open until later this month. Then we've got another project which is called Rise Energy, which we're participating in. And there's 2 facilities from Excel included. So one is from Sutacabo, it's an X2 plant using captured CO2. And the other one is the UK GEOS facility, so the Geoenergy Observatory in Glasgow. It's not officially part of the Excel research infrastructure, but in the project it's already included, and we are preparing the official integration or inclusion of that facility in Excel as well. On the two links you can see, those are the links where you would apply for access to those facilities. But both projects have got actually access to many more facilities included in their calls. So this is how the website looks like. When you click on this facilities to open access or the facility buttons a little bit further down in the website, you get to this catalog, which you can see on the right side. So that basically shows all the research facilities available under a specific topic, like CO2 storage. Then if you click on one of the facilities, you get a detailed fact sheet. So this is just the first level of details. You get a lot more information than what you see here on the screen right now. So next topic, I just want briefly to talk about EU calls. So for us as a research infrastructure, this is Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 in the EU program, the most relevant one, and under Pillar 2, it's mainly this Cluster 5, climate, energy, and mobility, where typically calls for our facilities or from CCUS would be included, as well as geothermal energy and subsurface energy storage. So I'm just hopping over that one. So basically, the calls for this year, they are now about to close in a couple of weeks' time, but they are already on the horizon calls for next year, which are being prepared. So this is draft information, so things might still change, but so there's one call which is related to direct air capture of CO2, and that call actually mentions Excel and recommends the use of Excel facilities, Excel research infrastructure in applications. And then there's three other calls which don't mention Excel explicitly, but for those, it is highly likely that it's also beneficial if Excel facilities would be used. So the first call is commercial appraisal for CO2 aquifer storage. And here 5 projects of up to 5 million euros are expected to be funded. Relatively high TRL level, but still pre-commercial. Next one is support to the implementation of the EU policy framework for CO2 transport and storage infrastructure. So here's just one project which is being funded for 5 million euros. And the last one is delivery of industrial CCUS clusters. So it's a societal readiness pilot, 3 projects, up to 10 million euros each. So basically, when you use Excel, you can have, there's various benefits in using Excel facilities. Excel is an ERIC, so some calls require an ERIC to be participating. Excel is an S3 landmark. So again, some calls require an S3 landmark to participate. We are part of the ERIC forum. Can help to include other ERICs in any applications. We have got a large range of research facilities available. And we also have industry contracts on one side through our industry advisory board, but on the other side, also direct industry contracts with facility owners in Excel are also some from industry itself. So I've got some examples that just flashing through those. So those are examples of facilities which have been included recently in a number of countries, like Shallow Geothermal Research Facility in France, Mobile Pilot Unit, we've got a 2 cubic meter pressure sphere for optimal flow in different states of the CO2. So that's can test industrial equipment under realistic conditions there. We've got an autonomous underwater vehicle included now from OGS in Italy, which can dive up to 3,000 meter depths. We've got a high temperature solvent capture facility in Italy. There's a number of facilities in Denmark, for example, land seismic equipment, GEOS, and DAS Interrogator, and so various other facilities as well. And then from Germany, you have got a number of facilities already, and as Klaus said, there's a lot more to come from Germany. From some of those institutes you can see at the bottom. And then from Italy and Netherlands and Norway, there's also a number of new facilities which have recently been included in Excel. So basically what I can quickly show you for 2 minutes before we go to the Q&A. I'll quickly show you our website. So this is how the website looks like. You get some news on the right side. You get some information for scientific users, industry users, innovation. So this part is still being built up, and the knowledge sharing platform as well. But here you can recognize the different areas which Klaus was showing you. So you can click on any of those, and then you get the facilities shown. You can also go over map view and go down on country level and then see the facilities on a country. But when I'm going up again, so if you're clicking here on the permanent CO2 storage, and I've done that earlier, because the internet connection is quite slow right now. So then you get all facilities shown under CO2 storage, which are relevant to research related to CO2 storage. But then you can further narrow it down what you're interested in. So we have got a number of storage technologies which you could select. We have got you can select if there's any transnational access, funded transnational access available under storage. You have got a number of research fields which can be studied, and how you can narrow down your interest in facilities. Then obviously you can go to different kind of scale or TRL level of the facilities. You can select countries, you can look at individual access providers, and you can look at types of access as well, whether you want in-person access or contract research. So it's very usable and easy to find your facilities. And if those categorizations don't help, then you can always try the full text search for identifying facilities. And I think I leave it there for now, and then we can go over to questions and answers.
Okay, then Audrey, would you like to moderate the question session? Or?
Yes, thank you very much, first, both of you, for this great presentation. So if anyone, I'm just going to the chat. You may write your questions in the chat for me to read, or you can also simply pop your camera on and ask your question. And if I put that bigger. Anna?
Yeah. Hello, Klaus and Volker. Thank you very much for the great presentations. So, I would like to ask regarding the diagram that you showed before when we have a 2050, the amount of the utilization and also permanent storage is almost more or less similar volume of the CO2 will be used for the utilization. So, what is the strategy? Because as far as I know, so far the utilization usage of the CO2 volume is very little compared to the permanent storage. That permanent storage can inject or can store even in amount of a million ton per annum, but for the utilization is very minimal. And there is also a byproduct of the utilization, the CO2 also the byproduct of it. So it's even adding the CO2 volume. So what is the strategy to get that utilization by 2050? You get a similar amount of the volume that can be used. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe I try to answer your question because again, you know, we from our side we see that there is a demand. Also, put it this way, the EU, the Commission foreseen that besides a storage capacity of 250 million ton in 2050, 200 million ton should be utilized, right? So they want to use CO2 as a feedstock and as a product, right? So we have here actually two ways. I mean, a lot of people talking about CO2 as a waste, yeah, and others talking about as a product. CO2 is important to generate product. You need the CO2 in the plastic industry. You need it when you do e-fuels, and the strategy to come to that number. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people were quite astonished when they saw the figures, because 200 million ton in 2050 is a high volume. But I think the strategy of the EU and the Commission, and you see it in the calls, they want to promote the X to power to utilize CO2. There is different ways to utilize CO2. I mean, there is already projects running in greenhouses that they use, especially the CO2 for accelerate the fertilization or the growth of plants. E-fuel is an important subject, plastic industry. So what the strategy is at the Commission, what I understood so far, and you will see it all in the EU calls, they will promote this area pretty much now. And certain regions, I mean, especially Denmark, also in Germany, they do a lot of research work on utilizing CO2 in a better way. So it goes in the right direction, but of course, it has to be promoted, because we know also, if you look at the e-fuel, that is of course still too expensive to be commercialized in a higher volume.